Hello gents, I'm in LA for a TV appearance and I got some spare time. So I'm gonna try to see how many different locations where Back to the Future was filmed I can visit in this time I have. Right behind me here, this is the road where Marty came down in the DeLorean in 1955 and realized that his neighborhood, Lyon Estates, was just getting under construction. And as you can see behind me, they still haven't made any progress. That neighborhood still hasn't been built. Now there is a little bit of activity across the street. They got some trucks out here today doing who knows what. But Lyon Estates never did get built, and the sign where he pushed the DeLorean and hit it was right there. Pretty cool to be in this spot. How many more spots can I hit? I'm gonna find out. Welcome to the Puente Hills Mall. Also known as the Twin Pines Mall and the Lone Pine Mall. This ramp behind me is where Marty rode his skateboard down when he was coming to meet Doc, and Doc's truck was parked right down there. The initial test of the time machine with sending Einstein back to the future happened right here, and then right where that car's driving is where Doc's truck was parked when the Libyan terrorists pulled up, and they had their race around this parking lot until they finally, Marty goes to 1955 and the Libyans hit the photo booth right over there. And right where I'm standing in this exact spot is where the Twin Pines Mall and Lone Pines Mall sign was set up. And I think I can go see that sign right now. And here's the movie prop, the Twin Pines Mall sign. 1:16 a.m. Ba, ba, ba. I am such a big nerd. Man, they really cleaned this place up. It looks brand new. This is Whittier High School, known as Hill Valley High School in the movie. It's got a fence around it now to keep wandering nerds from wandering into the school grounds. But this is where Marty and Doc walk up to the school in 1955. And right over there is where Marty and Jennifer almost got caught by Principal Strickland until they took an alternative route. And right there is where Marty and Lorraine parked, and then later George punched out Biff. Right behind me is Lorraine's house, where George McFly spied on her. And he spied on her from that tree right there. And this is right where Marty got hit by Lorraine's dad when he came up in the car. And then Marty ended up as Calvin Klein right up there in Lorraine's house. The upper right window is the window that George was spying on her from. This is where Marty tries to convince George to ask Lorraine to the dance. And George tells Marty right here in front of his house that he's not ready to ask Lorraine to the dance. And not Marty or anyone else on planet Earth can convince him to do so. Here is the Gamble House that plays the part of Doc Brown's mansion in 1955. This is where Marty runs up the driveway to knock frantically on Doc's door to try to find him. And right over here is Doc's detached garage, where he will later invent the time machine. You can take tours of the Gamble House, and sometimes they even do Back to the Future events here. But the interior shots of Doc's mansion were not taken here. They were taken at the nearby Blacker House that was also designed by the same architects who built this mansion. Behind me is the aforementioned Robert R. Blacker House. It is beautiful and stunning. One look at it and you can tell that it was made by the same people who made that Gamble House that serves as Doc Brown's mansion. Now, nothing on the exterior of this house is in the film. The only thing that this house was used for was to film the interior scenes of Doc's mansion in 1955. When they sat inside and made their plans, that happened in here. This is the Burger King location where Marty hitched a ride on the back of a vehicle and headed down this road. Now in the movie, they mocked up a little facade of Doc's garage right here. And they made it look like Marty had come right out of Doc's garage and then right down this driveway right here. And that's where he hitched a ride on the back of the Jeep and away he went. But we know Doc's garage isn't really here next to the Burger King. It's over at the Gamble House where we just were. And now I'm so famished after all this running around, I think I'm gonna go into that Burger King and get myself a delicious Whopper. See that lamppost right there behind me? Well, right next to the lamppost in the street was the starting line for the DeLorean when Marty was in 1955 trying to make it back to 1985. It was right there where he parked the DeLorean, put on the antenna and said, "Doc, why'd you have to tear up that letter?" And then decided to change the date that he was going back to. If you look really closely in that scene, you can see that tree in the scene. Just really briefly too. And right here on the ground there's this concrete pad and the rest of this whole area is dirt. The concrete pad is what they put in to put the bench on that you can also see in the scene right here. It's Griffith Park and it's just across the street from the Greek Theater. That is the Hollywood United Methodist Church. There's really not a lot to show you here because there's nothing to see that was in the film. But they did film the Enchantment Under the Sea dance inside the church. I can't get in though. They don't let you just go in and be a tourist in the church, so. But that's where it all happened. Earth Angel, Johnny Be Good, all happened right there inside this church. I'm at the last stop on my journey, the McFly house, and as luck would have it, I got to meet the owner of the house, Chris, and he was a cool dude. He talked to me for like 10 minutes, told me all kinds of stories. He said that he gets about 4 or 5 people out here a day taking pictures and videos of his house. He told me stories about how they selected his house for the movie, because he's owned this house for 60 years. How they came back and wanted to do part 2 here as well. He's got lots of cool stories. He gave me some pictures that his neighbor took of the filming of Back to the Future. Took a picture of me in front of the house. Super cool dude. So if you come out and visit this house, be respectful, but if you see Chris, say hi. He'll probably take a picture of you too. So the DeLorean backed up right here. Aimed right down the street. Doc, we're never going to get up to 88 miles an hour. There's not enough road to get up to 88 miles an hour. Roads? Where we're going, you don't need roads. How many hundreds of nerds have quoted that line right here? I've just added my name to those nerds that took the pilgrimage. Thanks for doing this nerd pilgrimage with me today. It's pretty neat that after almost 40 years, so many of these sites are still there and you can see them and visit them. If you're a mega nerd, what a pretty cool trip you can do. I can't believe I fit it all in one day. Yeah, most people when they come to LA, they do other stuff. I spent the whole day in traffic going to every Back to the Future site that I could, and it was totally worth it. I'd do it again. See you soon, gents. It's the next day and I had time, so I'm here at the Peterson Auto Museum so that I can see the actual DeLorean that was used in the movie. It's not a film location, but it's pretty much the coolest thing that you can see from the movie, so here goes. There it is, the DeLorean time machine used in Back to the Future. There were 3 DeLoreans used in the making of the film, but this is the only one that was used in all 3 of them. It had rotted away. It was in pretty bad shape, but it was lovingly restored, and now it lives here at the Peterson Auto Museum. I think that we can all agree that this is hands down the most iconic movie car of all time.